$65. Okay, I didn't see any lights on, so we must be pretty good. Okay guys, we're travelling through the Alexander's farm. This is one of 4 farms that they own, and they owned 4 farms long before Lord of the Rings. This one is 1,250 acres or 500 hectares, and in New Zealand we call this type of farming a dry stock farm, which means we grow the sheep and the cattle for their meat, their hides, and of course in the case of the sheep, the wool as well. Now the breed of sheep that you see are Romney, originally from the UK, up in the Romney salt marshes in England, and one of the few breeds of sheep that can withstand the wet conditions here. There's only one way you get this green grass, guys: lots of rain. Now the Romney sheep are absolutely yummy on a spit or a barbecue. Unfortunately, the wool is very coarse. It's around 28 microns thick, and we export it all to China for carpets. Now, this is Anna that's just got on.
Everybody.
Without a doubt, our best guide. She was in a draw with Hannah, but Hannah's left now. So she's got it all to herself. So you guys nailed it. Yeah, so we export all of the Romney sheep to China. They disguise it as carpet, and we buy it back again. It sounds a bit stupid, but there you go. We're just dumb manure kickers. This is my ex-wife Barbara here walking across the road. She's taunting me. You can always tell which one's Barbara. She's the white one. Now we have at the moment 9,000 sheep. Ordinarily, this is her sister-in-law, my sister-in-law Patricia. Patricia. Come on, Goofy. Ordinarily at this time of the year, they're having the budget tour. Look over on the hill over there. That's the budget tour. We would ordinarily have 12 to 13,000 sheep. However, we were warned in November last year, 2015, from the Met Office to cut our sheep numbers back and expect severe droughts. Hasn't stopped raining since they made that announcement. And now we've got grass up to our eyeballs and not enough sheep to eat it. But you've got to err on the side of caution. Look out to the right, guys. This is all their farm, what you see, right down to that line of trees down there. Now in the distance you can just make out the Kaimai Ranges. Now the Kaimai Ranges made up 1/5 of the Misty Mountains. The other 4/5 are in the South Island. So it must have been an extremely interesting trip riding those ponies across Cook Strait to get to the rest of the Misty Mountains. Now Peter Jackson flew over here in 1998. He decided this was the place for him. It ticked all the boxes: rolling green hills, scattered trees, a small lake with a symmetrical tree beside it, surrounded by little hills that he could dig the hobbit holes into. He negotiated with the Alexander family in 1998. Those negotiations took 7 months. The day after the signing of the contracts, engineers, you're on the wrong side of the fence, brother, all your wives are over there. That's going to make for an interesting honeymoon, isn't it, digger? He's on the wrong side of the fence. After they signed the contracts, the first thing that happened was engineers from the New Zealand Army came in here and they built this road we're travelling on. Now this was arranged by our then Prime Minister, Helen Clark. Now Helen Clark did other things as well. She also gave Peter Jackson easier access to our national parks and our scenic reserves. That does not mean she let them run roughshod over them, far from it. They had to follow the rules. However, Peter Jackson and Helen Clark have done more for New Zealand tourism than any other 2 people in my lifetime. So kudos to them both. Now once the road was in here, it wasn't in its present form, was a skinny little gravel road. However, it still enabled Peter Jackson and his merry men to get up to 120 vehicles a day in and out of here. Now a lot of those vehicles were truck and trailer units. They carried men, machinery, building materials, and they built... Jesus, I'm popular. They built the first Hobitton set. That was for the Lord of the Rings, and 37 hobbit holes built out of untreated timber, plywood, cardboard, plastic and styrofoam. Never intended to remain here, never intended for touring. However, halfway through the removal of the set, they had to call a halt to the destruction because a big storm came through here. Now they asked Peter Jackson asked the Alexander family for extra time, which was granted. And during that downtime, so many people showed interest in the set that the Alexanders got the brainwave to approach New Line Cinemas with view to running these tours. Now, we never started till December 2002, and at that time we would have between 500 and 1,000 people a day. That was in the busy period. To put that into perspective, now we have up to 3,800 people per day. But luckily for you, not today. Now, we ran tours, as I said, for 10 years on that set. Peter Jackson came back 2012 and asked if he could rebuild it for the Hobbit trilogy. The Alexanders agreed to it, only this time negotiations were quite different, because by now the tour company was a good going concern. So part of it was to remain. Now, I do have to tell you that Peter Jackson is a part owner in this tour company, and between Peter Jackson and the Alexander family, they have thrown zillions of dollars at it. So have a look to the right, guys. You get a sneak preview. There's the beautiful thatched roof watermill, the big beer barrel cart there. We do love our drink, us hobbits. The double arch stone bridge which leads over to the Green Dragon. Now, as part of your tour today, Anna is going to take you to the Green Dragon. And not only is Anna good looking, she's also single and loaded, boys. So Anna will be shouting you guys a beer, a cider, a ginger beer, or water from the Brandywine River as part of your tour. She's a good girl, all right? Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. As we go over the top of the hill here, guys, this is the last modern building you're going to see for some time. This here is the Dusty Haven, the base for our gardeners and builders. However, during the filming, this was the technical car park, and as the name suggests, was the base for our sound, lighting, pyro, special effects technicians. Andy Serkis's caravan was just on that flattish area there. Of course, you know Andy Serkis as Gollum, but he was my immediate boss during The Hobbit. He was the second director.